Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Buddy Scalera. That is Mike Fasolo. We are Comic Book School. Oh, we look so different, right? We look so different.
Yeah. We don't look anything like. We never photograph the way we're supposed to.
Right, we look totally
Never
different than in
works
that
out.
intro.
Mm-hmm.
I am Michael Dolce, your guest co-host. This is Mr. Hassan Godwin, your guest co-host, and welcome to At Comic Book School. We at Comic Book School, you learn a whole bunch of stuff about the comic book business.
Books.
From industry professionals.
We learn we talk about politics at Comic Book School.
All day long. Yeah, all day long. Absolutely. But yeah, so we are taking the reins. I don't know why Buddy decided to give us the reins. Not sure, but he did. That's look, whatever happens.
Our goal is to make him regret it, though.
Right. This is his fault. You know what I mean? Like we can definitely say, it is nothing that happens here is It's
our
on
fault.
us. It's completely Buddy for giving us the reins here.
He messed up. He trusted us. That's how I see it.
I agree. All right. Well, happy birthday first. Happy birthday. See, here's the funny thing. We are the hosts of the Rogue Wav podcast. We were on hiatus at the time, so it didn't look like we were going to get a birthday show in, Hassan. But then Buddy said, "Hey, Mike, do you want to host the day before your birthday?" And I said, "Of course I do, and I know exactly who to ask to come on the show."
Because my birthday is the day after your birthday, which is just ironically weird and crazy.
Right, there's something about that. I gotta tell you that there's something ominous about that. So happy
there's something terrible about two Scorpios doing a show.
Yes,
that's why the weather's always bad. But all right.
And welcome Glenn Gottilla and the many viewers we already have. So we already have twice as many viewers now than we do in our own show. So I mean, like that's
you shouldn't say that though. You should never you should never cop to that.
We are talking AI art tonight. See, here's the thing. Again, Buddy's like, "Do you want to co-host the show?" And I'm like, "Sure." He's like, "What do you want to talk about?" I'm like, "I don't know." I'm like, "All right, I got these ideas. We could do this." And he's like, "That's a controversial topic." And I said, "Sure, that's exactly what we want to do. We want to dive in." Look. AI art is something that AI in general has hit the mainstream big in the past year. Why? Even though it's been around for many, many years, and not just in Terminator movies, it's actually been something that has been, companies have been using it. I mean, I think one of the most relevant things that people know about AI is Siri. Siri is AI. Siri was first developed in 2012, 2011. Things like that, chatbots. I mean, these things have been around, but
it's as AI as our society, as our limits push. It doesn't. Siri doesn't actually think for herself, but
but it was the beginning of AI, and that's what I was getting to with the chronology of it. It only became
fair enough. I'm sorry.
Big now because Microsoft invested billions of dollars into OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, ChatGPT! Oh my gosh, it's AI! It's self-learning technology, and oh my goodness, this is amazing! This thing, it's gonna be groundbreaking. It's gonna lose jobs. It's gonna create jobs. It's gonna end the world. They're gonna bomb people." Then all of a sudden, because of that, the flurry of AI stories came out. There was the one where the journalist sat down with an AI bot that Microsoft was developing, and the Microsoft bot for some reason wanted him to leave his wife for the AI chat thing. I don't know if you ever heard that, but basically by the end, and then there was the military one where they said they were actually trying to they were doing these bombings, and the AI's job was to bomb places. This is all virtual, obviously. This didn't happen for real. And so, the pilot was actually stopping them, the AI, from accomplishing the mission. So the AI did what Terminators do, and they killed the pilot in this exercise, this training exercise. How is it relevant to us? Obviously, the biggest thing that came out in the past year, though, is the prevalence of AI art, artwork created by machines, based and trained off of actual artists' work, and that's where we begin. And yes, Glenn Gottilla, because Skynet was the good guy.
Yes. All right. So we know who we're dealing with in the audience, right? We know where the chat is on this particular situation.
So again, and that's where we kind of find ourselves. There's lots of different angles to this. Obviously, the AI discussion is a much larger one. Elon Musk has an AI. Microsoft does. Facebook does, Google does, they have all this stuff. But for our purposes, for creative purposes now, AI, generative AI is now being introduced, not just in art capacities, but also for YouTubers, content creators at large are now going to be able to use AI to create content. Hassan, where do you stand on this bold new innovation that's kind of taken place?
It's the Ouroboros, it's the snake eating its tail. I totally understand. I mean, look, just this generation alone that knows the previous way that everything was done is very excited about an expedient way of getting those things done via AI. But theoretically, and I'll be utterly hyperbolic because it's not our show. We're going to be like the last generation of people who can appreciate the time consumption in doing that, and the spontaneity of creativity or whatever. And I'm not saying that the creative people will go away or disappear, but if we are always looking at something that is expedient and simplistic as something that's worth being excited about and that's groundbreaking, then for the sake of cranking out content, especially like that YouTube article,
sure,
about we're excited about the interactive backgrounds that we can have on videos and this and that, and you got to just be careful. All we have to do is be careful about copyrighted material, copyrighted voices, copyrighted this and that. And then the article goes on to warn, like, yeah, but they're not going to be able to stop a lot of that stuff. A lot of that stuff is going to. So they're already throwing in the caveats, like, well, we'll be mindful of not breaking the rules and accidentally nuking the world, but we could nuke the world. It could happen. And
I love it.
It's just like, okay, so you're going to, it's cool. You're excited about this technology that's going to help you expediently make videos that is primarily used to judge art, because that's mostly what YouTube is. It's movie reviews, it's art reviews, it's toy reviews, it's political review. That's all it is. Yeah. So you're going to use an expedient model that's going to X out most of the creative knack and flair that you would apply to this medium that is basically used to critique other mediums. And you don't see that as, I wouldn't say it's unethical, but you don't see that as a conflict of creative interest,
Well, let's talk about that for a split second too. I think the pros and cons of all this stuff, right? There's definitely, like, I've been on shows before already this year, and they talk about AI art, and everyone comes out immediately, and with good reason. Don't get me wrong, I'm not actually poo-pooing it, because I do agree, but they're like, oh, I'm totally against AI art. This is the worst thing that's ever happened, and it's stealing. Yes, it is all of that. My answer though back to him was, it doesn't matter though what we think, because it's here. Like, it's absolutely here. And unless you're going to ask all these companies to stop investing billions of dollars in it, there's nothing we can do about it. So now the question becomes, all right, how do we turn something that we're stuck with? We're stuck with this now, right? There's no turning back to this, and turn it into a positive. So for creators like us, right? So some full background. I'm a comic book writer. I've been writing comics for 20 plus years now, which is crazy. My first professional work was in 2002. So go figure. If you want to call my first real professional work in 2006 was The Sire. Then I've been doing this for almost 20 years, which is also crazy. Hassan, you are an accomplished artist as well. You are a novelist. So we're talking not as radio hosts, not as podcasters, but we're actually talking about artists and creatives ourselves, right? One positive that could come out of AI art, and this was not my original idea. I credit Chris Simon, a friend of mine, former image editor, and she's currently at IDW. And she said, if they could train it, if an artist can train an AI to draw like them, they supply the artwork and they supply the training, it can actually increase revenues for artists, because they could then do 2 or 3 books at a time. Now, mind you, they would not be hand drawing this stuff. It would be AI massaged by them based off of their own drawing. So it's not plagiarizing. It's not, copyright infringement. I thought, man, that's a positive spin. Can you name any positives? And we'll get to negatives. Don't worry, Hassan, because there's plenty of negatives. I'm not, like I said, I'm not here to just tout the positives. But can you think of a positive for AI art at all?
I can think of dozens of positives. That's not necessarily apocalyptic.
That was my only one. You got dozens. That was my only one.
Well, I
That was my
mean, like one of the biggest problems with it right now is that it's still the ownership aspect of it is still so obscure. Like, for instance, like using Midjourney.
Yeah.
Midjourney owns everything that you do.
Yeah.
Now there's people saying there's a private Discord where you can have no. I mean, it's not copyrightable at the
Correct.
moment, and therefore anything that you put in there is going to become commercially licensed or commercially viable for Midjourney.
Yeah.
Maybe they won't use it. It's not a guarantee that it will be utilized, but so a lot of artists are obliged not to to experiment with it just for the sake of losing IP, losing
Right.
their. So I mean, once you get it, like your friend said, once you get it to the point where you can have your own AI program or software so that you can generate your own art through it, there's a lot of positives you can do. There's a lot of workflow stuff that you can do. That would make things easier. Every artist gets work that they need the money for, but they're not interested in doing.
Yeah, that's true.
It happens all the time.
It's not just limited to artists either.
No, I mean just in general, any gig, any situation in a gig economy, there are times you're going to get something and you're just like, yeah, I can do this and I need to do this, but I just don't feel like doing this.
Right.
And therefore, I'm not giving it my best because I am completely unmotivated to do it. So yeah, that's a positive. Once you get the ownership rights about all of it squared away, but it just came in as such a monster. It came in gangbusters, and people were immediately talking about taking other people's jobs away, like from the start. So they they turned the narrative kind of against itself. So like before you could even have an opportunity to look at this medium and go, look at all the stuff that you could do with this and look how quick you can get this done. You can look how beautiful the art is. All you have to do is put this in, and use a prompt. It was already spelling doom because of the way people were using it. It's like when you get the internet and the first thing you do is look for porn, like all that stuff, all that stuff at your fingertips. And you're like, yeah, let's go find women. So it's,
by the way, are you on Threads?
I am.
Like the Facebook. Yeah,
I am on Threads. I have not been there in a while because I'm not on a lot of social media. Period. So,
but do you know what's crazy though? I'm on Threads for the reason I bring this up is because you said porn. I'm not even following anybody, and all of a sudden, all I'm getting is porn on that.
That's just
let me give Threads a shot. Let me give Threads a shot here because I'm like, you never know.
Supposedly Threads doing really well. Then you hear it's not. I mean, like you just can't. You just don't know. You just don't know about any of this stuff.
No, you don't know.
I mean, look, good for Threads. But I have stopped kind of using social media, not even to get on a soapbox. I just stopped it just because, like, I'm old and I need to slow down. I need to let my heart beat.
It's better for your mental health to get off it. Unless you're sharing Comic Book School Live, in which case you should share.
Yeah, the chat should not get off it. Not for the next I don't know what, like 40 minutes or something like that. Yeah, the chat should stay with it.
Everybody else. All right. Buddy told me when I took over, he's like, don't be ashamed to self-promote. So this is a great little segue into self-promoting here.
There you go.
Mention the Sire, Lost in Time, #1 is in stores November 29th. That is a brand new miniseries. If you followed the book on Kickstarter at all, this doesn't look brand new to you. Thank you. I appreciate you guys following me. But I think the masses out there thought the series ended with issue 6. It did not. Brand new miniseries. Dave Johnson cover. Dan Leister interiors, along with Will Torres. Dan Leister's done the original Sire work. He's done so much awesome work. Will Torres just got his first Marvel cover. So we got artwork from both of them in there. Brand new storyline. And in Diamond Previews this month, hey, look at that cover. Lost in Time #5 is going to be solicited. Cover by Hassan Godwin. Yeah. Look at this. Shameless self-promotion.
Yeah, that's wonderfully shameless. Thank you very much.
At its best. But that'll be in Dive In Previews. I don't have the order code yet. I think it's the previews that hits next month. Actually, it'll be the December previews, so you can check it out. But yes, tell your local comic book store, order it. If not, go to SireStudiosInc.com. That's INC.com.
Make it happen.
Check it out. Dren Productions. Dren is our publisher. Go to DrenProductions.com as well. That's DREN Productions.com. All right, we got lots of comments here, Hassan. I was told to keep this to a half an hour. Which is, I mean, he's not even in here. He's not here. He's somewhere else.
We can do whatever we want. The boss is not away.
I don't even know if Mike Fasolo is around. I mean, he might, he's somewhere too.
Yeah, you would have think Fasolo would have done like he would have stepped up and done the co-hosting thing. He would have taken over the hostly details, but he didn't.
So. Matt Mossman. Is it Mossman or Mossman?
Mossman?
Yeah. Is it Mossman? That's like you should be. We should come up with a Mossman comic book.
Well, there is a Mossman. No, there was a He-Man. Mossman was one of He-Man's characters.
Well, I bet you we can come up with our own now. Let's just steal this guy's last name and do it.
We could do it. We'll take it.
Too bad very for Matt. AI of us.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll homage his name.
Yes. We're honoring him by stealing his name and making money off of it that we're not going to share with him.
Well, he says there are several data poisoning tools available to artists to prevent their work from being used by AI generators. For every move in technology, there is a counter move. Agreed. This is the one thing, and this is not to get political in any way, shape, or form, but I love the climate change debate because climate change to me is funny because everyone's like, we're destroying the earth. I said, yes, we are destroying the earth. However, we're not just going to stand around and just let the earth get destroyed. We're going to do something about it. Now, there's lots of things you can do to do it. So you use that as an analogy, right? You can try to reduce your carbon, or we could also come up with technologies. We could do two things simultaneously also that can help fight climate change. AI is here. There's lots of things we can do to fight the negatives associated with AI, including, not to create Terminator.
Yes. There are some parameters in place that will allow you to at least be assured that your art is not being scraped, but I mean, for every technology that is a counter, there's a counter to the counter, so they'll find a way to get around it.
Right.
I mean, look, here's the thing. Once you can't tell it's AI anymore, that's a complete game changer. Now, AI is brilliant.
It will be there.
Yeah, AI is brilliant, but you can still tell AI is AI. Like you could see a discernible person can still tell.
You don't see six fingers on me, do you?
Yeah,
I'm AI right now.
Not yet.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude. It's not even me right now. I'm with Buddy right now in Morocco, hanging out at the Comic-Con.
I did think we were getting along a little too well for it to actually be you. So, I've been fooled again. Now I'm the only schlub working tonight. That's what you're saying.
That's it.
But I mean, look, I think it's beautiful. I don't want to use AI not because of the ethics. It's just no fun. Art creating is fun because you can make something from nothing.
Right.
If you could just type something and the machine makes it for you. Well, that's awesome in and of itself. I get that. If you're not an artist, I get that.
Yep.
But for most artists, it's like, all right, well, that's, like the whole thing was me, climbing this mountain, me overcoming the mountain.
Let me talk about that for a second, because I think there's something to that. I think there's also
I'm not talking commercially though. I'm talking just in general.
No. I get that. I don't mean that commercially either, actually. I think there's something about being an artist. Now I'm just speaking for myself, but I obviously everything that I believe about myself, I think that I would project onto other people, that maybe there's people out there like me who feel the same way.
Okay.
Being an artist was like when you're a little kid, right? So I got two kids, and we point out these things that they do well. Like my son is really good at sports. He's also a really good artist, but he's just really good at sports. And we try to highlight that because we want to give him confidence, right?
Right.
But also we do that. We give him confidence. And then all of a sudden, this makes him feel special. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm relating it to me. I was always, wow, you can draw really well, Mike. That makes you special. That's your special talent. And so you go into life thinking like, you know what? I haven't figured out this girls thing. I don't exactly know how to drive a car, but damn it, I can draw.
I got this
That's good.
one
I've
thing.
got this. I've
I
got
do
this
have
thing.
this one thing. Yeah, and they came and took that right out from under you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's where people are getting very sensitive about it because, and with good point, with good reason, because all of a sudden now it's not just good enough to be special at something, because what you're special at, unless you're, doing tricks at the bar or, at a dinner party and you have your sketch pad handy, where are you really showcasing this talent? And I think that's something that people have to come to grips with, because on the flip side, if I'm not talented, but I have inclinations, I just can't draw well, or I just can't do something well. Well, now I can get my idea out. I can express myself and it will come out looking just as good as Hassan Godwin. And, so on
I
the
mean,
flip
look,
side, yeah,
I guess the the lesson there, the moral of that story is that it's not a blood sport, right? You can't compete. You can't artistically compete with other people. Like that can't be your identity as an artist can't be in competition with someone else's artistic identity. You can't be like, I'm special because I draw better than Mike,
Mhm.
or because I draw better than Buddy, or that I can make better. You got to be like, look, I'm Hassan. This is the kind of art that Hassan makes, for the
Yeah,
kind of story that Hassan tells, and that has to be in its level of special, and that's if you take it that way, then any art that anybody comes up with is is not going to it's not going to topple your thing,
yeah,
necessarily. It will, it'll go out into the market, and then you will be successful by how much the market can bear. So I mean,
I
that's
figured
the
out
only
Mossman's powers, by the way.
which from Moss Man's power.
Mossman's powers is to come up with really good comments, because he wrote, the real threat to comics from AI is from somebody coming with a content generator that eliminates human creators entirely, just lets viewers make their own thing from prompts. Now,
It's still, look, there's a lot of danger well, not danger, but I mean there's a lot of kind of peril in all these things. But I
mhm,
think what's going to happen, there's already evidence that this is kind of happening. AI is not going to go anywhere, but it's the fad of AI is going to get old for people after a while. Like if you're not an artist, you're going to get bored making easy art
yeah,
all day long
mhm,
very quickly. And you're going to get bored with your own ideas, because all of us do.
mhm,
you know there's a lot of stimulus in the creativity of something, right? If you're
right,
doing Sire, then by the time you're done with the script, you're already bored. I was like, oh man, all right, I'm done with this script, and then you
yeah,
move to
yeah,
art, you move to the other phases of it, and that
mhm,
reinvigorates your excitement of it.
yep,
If it all can be done in the space of a week, then
right,
there it will be, to some extent, a compromised product.
yeah,
um
I agree. I agree. I think there's definitely something to that extent. I think what's funny though is the notion that two notions. One, is it going to be like Idiocracy, where people are just literally just pushing buttons? Your S is messed up,
yeah.
and you talk weird, man. And it's like,
To an extent it will be, yeah.
but
I mean,
the
that's
other,
where we're headed.
the question, I guess, comes down to the generation. It's a generational question, I think, too, right? Folks like us, and I think anybody 10 and over right now. I'm actually going to go 10 and over. No, because AI is such in an infancy state in terms of where it's going to be maybe 5 years from now, are always used to following people, right? Like Kickstarter is a great example of that, right? Like Kickstarter bases their entire model on, yes, I like this project, but I like you because you are making this project, and I'm buying this project because you're making this project, right? I think the majority of it is people based. Would we,
Okay.
if it's completely computer generated, am I going to care? Am I going to care because it's Spider-Man, or do I care because it's Spider-Man written by Brian Michael Bendis, drawn by Todd McFarlane, drawn by Eric Larson? Our generation is the answer. I think is almost definitively, we care about the creators working on this, right? Our interest
Mm-hmm.
in Spider-Man is accelerated when we know good creators versus bad creators. That being said, I feel like anybody 10 and under who's growing up with this stuff, let's say in 5 years, Spider-Man is just completely, it's drawn and written by a robot, essentially, by AI.
Yeah.
Are we going, are they going to know the difference? And they're not, because they're growing up with this stuff. They're going to just be like, I just read Spider-Man. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, what do you think? Is it?
Yeah, there's going to be like I mean, the percentage of people who think like we do is just going to get smaller and smaller and smaller.
Right.
But you can tell by people who still listen to old music that
Yeah.
even young people who
Right.
grow up and start listening to older music because they find something there that is not in the music that they listen to in present day. So that's just that there is going to be a percentage who always going to favor tradition. It's always they're always going to look at it and this is the better product.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's that percentage of people will be small.
Yeah.
And it'll be very small in the beginning, and then it will grow larger probably.
I mean, it could be like vinyl coming back, right? I mean, it could be like vinyl and DVDs coming back.
Exactly. Look at Jurassic Park. Look at CGI. Oh my God, CGI. Look what you can Jurassic Park and Terminator 2. The sky was the limit.
Yep.
This is and now everyone's talking about bad CG and how they hated something that's almost all a CG image, and it was like, oh, this is like watching a video game. This wasn't even a movie.
Right.
So it's and we're not going to move away from CGI. Movies are not going to stop using CGI, but CGI is going to have to change it once the audience can recognize they can see they can see the magic trick,
right?
And they're no longer fooled by the magic trick. Then they lose interest in it, or they get hostile sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, look at I just watched a YouTube video on as a retrospective on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and it was just hostile towards the CGI environments in that film, and it's like yeah, but that's some better CGI than some of the original CGI that everyone fell in love with.
Right.
But now everyone can see it. It's we can see it too clearly that is CGI. This is not a forest. You're on a set,
right?
And it bugs us. So
yes,
I mean, there's going to be people who are going to come to our frame of thinking generations after we're gone, but it's going to be small.
On a small note, before we get out of here as well too,
yeah.
I showed my son loves Indiana Jones now. So we started with Raiders of the Lost Ark, loves Raiders of the Lost Ark. I didn't want to show him Temple of Doom, and I said, I told my wife, I was like, I don't know, if kind of scary. He's 7 years old. He's like, no, I want to see it. Like, no, now I want to see it. Now I definitely want to see it.
He got past the people melting in the beginning of the first one. So I mean, that's as rough as Indy gets, really.
Right. Well, no, ripping out the heart. That's not,
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's the funny thing. I kept setting it up to him like, they're going to rip out a heart. I didn't tell him what it was. I'm like, there's a scary part coming up. There's a scary part coming up. There's a scary part. And he's like, what's the scary part? What's the scary part? What's the scary part? And I'm like, well, that was it. He goes, oh, that wasn't that bad. But so we watched all 5 of them now. He had no problem with Crystal Skull. He had no problem whatsoever with it.
Really?
Yeah, he was totally into it. Didn't like the last one. And he said there was not enough action in it. And what I think he meant was there wasn't enough Indiana Jones action in it. Like when Indy was actually, and what's funny? I never even noticed until he said it.
He might start enjoying it when he gets a little older.
Yeah.
But the problem is he might enjoy it for what it tried to do or what it represented instead of the actual because I enjoyed it just because like, wow, okay, this is a nice send off, and the sequence in the beginning was like a little mini Indiana Jones film, and the aging didn't bother me all that much.
Yeah,
it bothered some people.
I love the de-aging. I wish they would have made the whole movie young Indiana Jones with old Indiana Jones voice.
I did say that when we first saw it. It's like, I don't know why they can't make 5 more of these like this, but
I know.
you gotta.
And with AI
But
art, it's only going to get better.
yeah, to an extent,
Yeah.
to some extent, and
Full
it's gonna get
circle.
worse. It's gonna get better, and it's gonna get worse.
Full circle.
Yes.
All right. I want to thank Buddy Scalera for giving us the keys to the kingdom. He's actually giving me the keys one more week, and I'm inviting my friend Victoria Bennett, who's also known as Bevan. She's going to co-host with me next week. We're going to talk some. She is an influencer. She has her own show on Tubi. It's called Beverages with Bevan. So we're going to talk about how you can become an influencer. We're going to talk about how you can get your own show on Tubi and how you can make money being a pop culture fan. So I think that's, I don't know, it's pretty exciting, right? I think how's that for a teaser?
That's better than what we just talked about. So yeah.
I don't know. I thought we did pretty good, Hassan. Like riding a bike, here. It's like,
but
it's
no
like
one's gonna
having
get
AI
anything
design a
out
bike
of it.
for
Like
us.
they're gonna come back next week trying to get rich. We didn't make anyone rich tonight.
No, not tonight. Not tonight. But maybe next week. Oh, real quick before we get going here, because we got a bunch of comments. I like spotlighting the comments. Glenn Gotilla said, so he survived Temple of Doom. Show your kid Terrifier. I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna go that far.
Yeah.
And friend of the
these are bad influences on you, man. Don't take these.
Friend of the show, Joel Movie. What age is appropriate to start the Tarantino Film Fest? I don't think there's any age appropriate.
I say 6. 6. Start showing your kid Tarantino at 6.
I think so.
Especially if he goes to a predominantly black school. If he's a white kid going to a predominantly black school, show him Tarantino at 6. He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
He'll make it. He'll be the next Tarantino.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a sad story.
Excuse me. Let me clarify. Don't do that. I was just
Wait,
kidding.
you were being sarcastic?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Do not.
All right,
that.
real quick self-promotion. Sire Lost in Time #1 is in stores.
How come I wasn't warned so that I can have my promotions playing tonight?
Do you know what's really funny? Okay. I actually made this as we were talking because I totally forgot. But I did want to promote you.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah,
look at that.
Yeah, all right.
I didn't have to jump to #5, Hassan. I did. It's in Diamond Previews next month. It'll be in December's Diamond Previews. I don't think it's in. I think #4 is in December. So next month as well too. If you like either of us, which I don't know why you would, but you do, we'll do some podcasts coming up, Hassan. I got big plans. Secrets of the Sire, man. I'm telling you. As soon as I find some time, I got LA Comic Con in a couple weeks, and when I come back, I got what is what's the famous Pinky in the Brain? I'm gonna
try to take over the world.
Yeah, take over the world.
Like, do the same thing we always do. Try to take over the world.
Exactly. All right. Thank you, buddy. I'll be back next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan. Pre-happy birthday again.
Pre-happy birthday to you.
Sorry. All right. This has been Comic Book School, and I'm going to show some generic end credits. How about that?
Sounds good. I like generic end credit.
Later, y'all.